Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Life with Ashley Renee. So I wanted to do a breastfeeding vlog because since I'm a new mom, breastfeeding has been just part of this journey that I've jumped into, that I've embraced. But when I jumped into it, I was extremely ignorant to everything that breastfeeding comes along with. So I wanted to do a vlog that kind of talks about the real ins and outs for me, tricks and things that I've learned. And I want to go over different like breast pumps that I use. And so hopefully this vlog will help a new mom who is either thinking about breastfeeding, already breastfeeding. Maybe I'll go over a question that you may have, or maybe you'll reach out to me and we can connect and you can help me understand more about breastfeeding, because I'm in the middle of my journey. My breastfeeding journey is not ending anytime soon anyway. So I knew I wanted to breastfeed when I found out I was pregnant. I knew that was the route. As long as my body was going to produce, I wanted to feed Aiden with breast milk. That was something that was going to be extremely important to me. Although my mom did not breastfeed, I didn't know any moms that did breastfeed. Or if I did know, I wasn't like completely filled in on how and why and what they did or none of that. Like I just wasn't tuned in. So when I was pregnant, maybe about 7 months or something, Darian and I took a breastfeeding class. And so it was good for him to come because he knew nothing about breastfeeding. And it was with a nurse, a lactation consultant, but she was also a nurse. And it was free. So I think like if you are thinking about breastfeeding and if like any of the hospitals in your area offer them, you should go. But it was about an hour and a half, but all of it was beneficial information. They talked about nipple creams. They talked about getting an infection in your breast. They talked about things you could pass on to your baby, drinking, smoking, all that stuff. But also like tricks. So ways that you can, initiate your letdown and all these terms that I had never heard before. They talked about at the breastfeeding class. So I thought that was really cool. And I was like, okay, I wasn't, scared to jump into the breastfeeding journey. Now, since I've been breastfeeding for over 8 months, if I had known before I started breastfeeding, the time that it takes, the frustration, the pain, no, I would have not done it because I would have been scared, or I just would have like talked myself out of it. But I will say, since I did not know, I feel like ignorance was on my side. Like it was okay that I was ignorant to the fact that I didn't know much about breastfeeding because I wouldn't have done it. So I think, so just going into it and wanting to do it was great. I thought I would like have this baby, I would get him, I would latch him on. It'd be good for a couple minutes, go about my day. I thought I'd go to work, I'd pump a little bit, go about my day. I didn't know about clogged ducts or engorgement, none of those things. So when we were in the hospital, you guys know I had a C-section. And so that instantly fogged my brain, okay? So when I got back to the room, you do the skin to skin with the baby when you have a C-section. If the hospital lets you and everything's good, we did that. And when we got back to the room and it was time for me to try to breastfeed, nothing was really coming out. My milk didn't come in. So while I was pregnant, my breast did not leak at all, which I started to get worried because I thought like the further along I got, maybe at some point they would leak, maybe in the shower, but no, they never started leaking. So I was like, man, I'm not going to produce milk. Like, because I know women, either you do or you don't, or it's not a lot, or it's, not enough. So I was thinking I'm not going to be able to breastfeed my baby. So in the hospital, my milk did not come in. I would try to latch him. It was frustrating for me, frustrating for him. So we were in the hospital for 4 days, and Aiden was on formula, the instant ones that you just put the nipple on it. I think it's like 2 ounces. And I thought that stuff was the best. I didn't have to mix it or nothing. But I was like, I don't want to give up on this journey. And when I went to the hospital, I did not have my pump. So I wasn't able to pump, but my milk didn't come in yet. I didn't know that at the time my milk didn't come in yet. I found out later when it came in, what that felt like. So we came home, it was day 5 that morning. And When I went to sleep that night, I woke up, my boobs were like 4 times their normal size. They were huge. It looked like I had just got my boobs done. Like they were big, lumpy, full, painful, like extremely painful. Like I was crying. Like my mom was like rubbing me down with alcohol. Like I was just crying, and I was just like there. I was like, give me Aiden. We gotta try to get him to latch. So we tried again. But because I had a C-section, it wasn't really comfortable when Aiden would lay. You know, when you try to like lay with your baby on your boob, like it wasn't really comfortable. Like I was sore all over. So that wasn't working. So I was like, okay, I do have my pump. Let me read. Now, I will say if you're going to pump or not, if you think you might pump, read your pump before you're trying to pump. Like don't do it in the midst of like engorgement and uncomfortableness and all that. So that was like a mistake, you know, lesson learned. So we got the pump together, all that stuff. I started pumping. I will say in the beginning, I pumped every 2 hours. So anytime Aiden ate, I pumped, which is a lot. So I felt like I was always pumping. I did not think I would stick with it this long. All I kept thinking about was when can I stop? When can I stop? When can I stop? Then in the midst of being in a pandemic, like I had read one time that there was a shortage on formula. That kind of motivated me to keep pumping because I was like, no, there's been a shortage in everything else. Like I'm going to try to pump. So I've been pumping, you know, the 8 months. Things have been good. I have in the beginning engorgement that lasted like man, I was like the first 3 months, like it was a roller coaster. Like some days my boobs would be great. Some days they'd get like lumpy. Like maybe I wasn't draining them enough. And I would get on like Instagram and follow like all these like breastfeeding pages. Like that was my go-to. I did end up like talking to another mom who was breastfeeding. So we like talked and we're like this. So I will say like use your social media. Like I joined Facebook groups because I needed to know, you know, what other moms are doing. I will say I had to remove some of those Facebook groups because they would post a lot of negative things about it. Didn't want to hear that. So I removed those, and so like I only followed like 2 breastfeeding pages, and I think that's like enough. You don't need all that information because it's going to scare you. So I in the beginning I started out with this pump, this Lantano pump. So this, I guess that's how you pronounce it, I really don't know. So this pump is an electric pump. It's plugged into the wall. I just don't have my cords on it, but it's plugged into the wall. And then it hooks up to you onto your breast. And so I have a hands-free nursing bra. I will recommend that to anybody who pumps, or else you're going to be holding the bottles like up to your nipples. So this pump is the most comfortable pump that I have. I have 3 pumps. My insurance paid for this one, so be sure to see if your insurance can pay for you a pump or some percentage. So it has all these different settings, you know, let down mode, regular mode. It is kind of like, I don't know if it won't turn on because it's not plugged in, but it's not silent. So it's like, it makes it like a noise, which Aiden sleeps through it all the time because I pump next to him all the time. So he's probably used to it, but this is my most comfortable pump, probably because I started using it first. So it's like my comfort zone, but I think, I love this pump. So this is what I use probably the first 4 months, solely just this pump. So then, you know, it was Mother's Day, and I had been researching all these pumps that were wireless and stuff. And so Darian Aiden gifted me the LV pump. So the LV pump, it slides into your bra and you wear it. There's no wires. And so it pumps about 5 ounces. And so the ounces go in here. And so this sits in your bra. And so like your nipple would go in this part, and it's like sucking, and it's really silent. So it makes like a little noise, but like people can't hear it. Like you hear it because it's right underneath your ears, but you know, no one else can hear it. And so you could do everything. So like I will use this like in the car, on the go. You just charge them before and then use them later. So you could use them if you're in the grocery store, if you're a shirt, make sure you have on something that's tight fitting, because if it's loose, this won't work. So this pump is great. This pump is expensive. It's about like $400 or something. So now I would not use this as my only pump though, because the suction isn't super strong. So if you're engorged or you have a clogged duct, you need more suction. So, but I think it's a good on-the-go pump. Like I would recommend a mom have both, like a hospital grade one and then this one, or any type of like wireless one. So just because it's just more function, it's more practical. Especially if you have more than one baby, like you can't be plugged into a wall all the time because like you have one kid over there doing who knows what, another kid over here. Like this pump, it's great. I recommend it if you could afford it. If not, there's all these other ones that like you can hook on to you. There's other options, but this is a good option, but I would not say it's like my top option, if that makes sense. So this is my third pump. Is a Bella Baby pump. You can see the brand. I've like used it a bunch, so this one's not wireless either, but it's portable. So you charge it. This is the charging port, and then it like this one will come on because it doesn't have to be plugged into the wall, so it's on. And so you will just have the two cords hooked up to your breast, and now this one you can walk around with it. Like I said, you don't have to be plugged into the wall. And this one's great. The suction on this one is the bomb. If I'm clogged or engorged, or I've slept too long, so I wake up and I'm super full, I will use this pump. If I'm in a rush, the suction is really great. It drains me really quickly. So like with this pump, I'm always going to pump 20 minutes because the suction's good and stuff, but it doesn't drain me quickly. This pump, the settings on the suction are a little bit better, so I could pump for like 15 minutes. On the LV pump, if I'm on the go and if I'm just on the go and trying to empty, then I'll do maybe 20 minutes on it. So, or 15 or 20. I'll pump between that 15 to 20 range. So, but I am an overproducer, so my breast will pump between each 6 to 8 ounces at any given time, which some women do not, pump that much. So that's a blessing, but also when I'm full, I'm extremely full and I have to pump. So I think that being an exclusively pumping mom it's brought me and Aiden closer together because I feel like I do this solely for him. So of course you love your kids, you love your babies, but you're like, dang, I'm sacrificing so much time, more time than usual, so much energy. Like this is so draining. Like how do I have it in me to do this? Like, and I just think it's like part of that like mom superpower. Like, not to say that formula isn't great and like formula moms are less than. I think that's kind of like the just the image that's kind of out there, which is not true. Like whether your baby is formula or breastfed, it doesn't matter. Your baby just has to be fed. So I think like that's the takeaway. Like don't be hard on yourself if you're not a breastfeeding mom. But if you are a breastfeeding mom, I want to encourage you and pat you on the back because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of energy, and I'm doing it with you. And so for people who know me personally, or of me, or we're friends on Facebook or Instagram, but we've never had a conversation, like reach out, like let's link, because I just feel like the more support you have, the better. And like you could be going through something that could help me later and vice versa. So I think like educate yourself on what pump you're using, reach out for support. You're not by yourself. And so my breastfeeding journey it's been great. I have had roller coasters. There's several days where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not fun. But then there are moments when I'm like, yes. So I think that do what works for you, do what works for your children, do what works for your lifestyle. Don't be too hard on yourself. Know that you're an amazing mom, and a fed baby is a happy baby. So let me know what you guys think of this video. If you guys want to see more of what I'm doing, like what products I'm using, what other new mom videos do you want to see? Just let me know. Thank you guys, and I will talk to you soon.